And welcome everybody to the COVID Chronicles Then and Now. This episode for April 7th, 2020 and 2021. I'm your host, Dan, aka smAsho. And we did originally stream this video live to Twitch. It's twitch.tv/smAsho. Thanks to everybody who tuned in on YouTube and on BitChute. Check exclusive content on all of those locations. And before we get into the meat of today's video, let's talk about Saint Dr. Fauci, the only saint doctor that I'm aware of, who everybody seems to continue to believe despite flip-flopping on nearly everything. It's an ode to Dr. Fauci. Welcome everybody to the Neo-Renaissance. Check out our website, smAsho.com. One of the things you can find there, if you click on smAsho Forum, would be parody lyrics. That's in the free-for-all forum. So we'd have to invite you all to sing along. Shut up, Fauci. Fauci, shut up. Shut up, Fauci. Fauci, shut up. Fauci came from a putrid, grotesque side of town. And when he commits fraud, we think he should be shut down. Fauci, we're no longer listening to you. Your cure's worse than the disease. Plus you swore an oath too. And so we say now, shut up, Fauci. Fauci, shut up. Shut up, Fauci. Fauci, shut up. Fauci wears a red mask, yeah, says you should wear too. We're uninterested in all of the fraud you spew. Fauci, when I see you daily on the news shows, you're a fraudster, yeah, and now everybody knows. And so we request that you shut up, Fauci. Fauci, shut up. 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 Seriously, please do. Shut up, Fauci. Thanks to Henry and Al for producing that. If you want to find other interesting topics at our forum, head to smashamash.com/forum, as there is plenty of material over there. And one of the other things you may find over there would be our April Slam Poetry Contest. So we've got a Slam Poetry Contest. And by the way, you should include dramatic cues with your slam poem. So for example, if you need to fall down in the middle of your poem, put some sort of a stage direction on there. As remember, folks, this is a virtual Slam Poetry Contest, as we're not going to actually all gather in the same room, right? Because who knows? Maybe you're locked down. Maybe you'd have to wear a mask. Maybe mask is part of your poem, and maybe it's not part of your poem. I really have no freaking idea. But in any case, the Slam Poetry Contest, if you win that, and it's going to be judged by me and by Smash staff and by one other judge to be announced. I mean, we have all month to figure all of this stuff out, folks. It'll win you with a free month of Patreon at the $3 per month tier for the month of May. So we're giving out a tiny, tiny little benefit, a $3 per month value. It's really all about trying to win the poetry contest, I think. But I'm a published poet, and since I am smAsho, I can't exactly participate in said contest. So, as the sword of Damocles hangs above our head, let's talk about smAshomash.com/forum. One of the other threads you can find there, and the free-for-all forum, and it's actually globally pinned throughout the month of April. So even if you go to the cosmology forum, for example, you'll find coronavirus. Yes. It's about a 30-page document, and we've painstakingly copy-pasted articles as opposed to just linking to them. So we've got to go to page 17. We've copy-pasted articles instead of just linking them, but we've also linked the source to each of the articles. So let's see what was going on 1 year ago today. Okay, we're a couple days behind here. Let's get to page 18. And we didn't update this every day, but almost every day starting January 23rd, 2020. So when we noticed that this was going to be hanging above our heads for an extended period of time, of course, we did not forecast it would be hanging above our heads for this amount of time because, well, let's just say I knew something about infectious diseases before this all happened. And because of that, that is why we created this particular forum thread, because I already knew most of this stuff. I was basically just verifying it by reading these articles. And so there we are on April Fool's Day. I think this may be to the 7th. smAshomash.com/forum. Again, folks, this is all free currently. And again, the reason that we copy-pasted the articles, the reason that we did that, folks, is because we were concerned about articles being scrubbed from the internet or being altered. So we have them in their original state. We left all the date stamps intact. So here's what was going on the 4th, the letter from Bob Casey to Pennsylvanians, and so on. Of course, we don't have all the information, but we have all the national and world scale information as it was heavily covered. So, and you'll notice some of the information changing over time. That was the whole point of it, to create a timeline for COVID. And what we're talking about here is what was going on last year on the 7th. So if you want to read the other days, feel free. Again, it's still free. We don't have any paywall on the website yet. Here we go. Here's a story I remember covering very well. And I think we talked about this in our daily space weather video, actually. So see, we didn't update on the 6th. But here on April 7th, we updated. Pennsylvania state trooper violates oath to uphold U.S. Constitution by enforcing stay-at-home, quote, law, end quote. Now, many people took exception with Tom Wolf's statewide mandate to be locked down, to do various things that the governor really does not have the authority, especially after the legislative branch, the Pennsylvania Senate and House, voted to limit the power. And that was just completely thrown by the wayside by tyrant, plutocrat Governor Tom Wolf. And so Pennsylvania state law enforcement was enforcing ridiculous laws and violating their oath, because police take an oath, folks. I don't know if you're aware of this. They take an oath to uphold the U.S. Constitution, as well as, in this case, the Pennsylvania Constitution. And since the U.S. Constitution supersedes the Pennsylvania Constitution, each attempt by somebody to get police to violate it should be treated on a case-by-case basis, and it should be an order not followed, as that is what the oath essentially requires. The enforcement of both the Pennsylvania and the U.S. Constitution. So there's one of the stories from last year on April 7th. Let's see what else was going on. If we've posted any more from that day, and indeed we did, An in-home coronavirus test is being developed in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Yes. So anyway, AuraSure Technologies was the company dealing with that. And let's see what it says on their homepage. Here's AuraSure Technologies' homepage. Who claims they're bringing their expertise to the COVID-19 fight, and I have no reason to doubt them. Turns out understanding human and animal health is more than just reading a test result, folks. Who knew? So in any case, I'm not sure if they have the at-home test available or not yet, but that is another interesting story that we covered yesteryear on this same date. We'll just let that scroll for everybody that wants to pause the video at a later time and read it. And now we're talking about antibody testing. And what we need is at-home antibody testing, really, folks. That would really be the ultimate, right? Would you leave us a comment if you would take an at-home antibody test? Yeah, that would be something I'm sure a lot of people would be very interested in. If there's anybody making at-home, anonymously, if you can go to the drugstore and purchase an at-home antibody test using cash and have no way of being tracked, I think a lot of people would be into doing that, especially with the current state of affairs when it comes to things like online surveillance and so on. As you may have noticed that these things have reached a properly testicular level. This one requires blood prick samples, but speaking of prick samples, let's see what's going on in the mainstream news today. Oh, wait, another one from April 7th that we covered last year. The virus is too communicable to be stopped. Oh, this is actually me, by the way. The virus is far too communicable to be stopped. It can be slowed. Hospitals can get overloaded, but the number of cases and number of deaths is unlikely to be affected by much of any measure. Let's see if the tiger stomps on this little bug or if it's on a respirator for a few days. Everybody was very worried about a tiger that caught COVID, and this story was not particularly well covered by the mainstream news. As we were talking about things like a bobcat leaping over you while you sunbathe in the forest, sneezing on you, and you catching COVID from it. Yes, animals can catch COVID, folks, and we talked about this rather extensively last year, actually. And this should be very interesting to people, as the implications of this are that your cat is more likely to catch COVID than your dog. And if you think I'm kidding, I don't know. Look up information about it. I have no reason to argue. But if you'd like to argue, by all means, leave us a comment, and perhaps we shall, depending on what it is you say. But really, these are facts, folks. So I'm just going to let this one scroll here. And by the way, if you notice, my margin of error on most forecasts for COVID was fairly good. Personal butthole recognition. Perhaps in our next COVID Chronicles, we'll talk about personal butthole recognition. But for now, let's head to a mainstream news source. Let's see. We've recently done NBC and CBS. Let's do ABC News, which I think is just abc.com. Nope, abcnews.go.com. Do you have ideas of where to tell ABC News to go? All right, let's check the number one COVID headline for the day. According to ABC News, Biden to call for all to be eligible for vaccine by April 19th. Yes. Yes. So that has been the main story over the past 24 hours, for sure. And allow me to prevent this from playing whatever it's attempting to play against our will. All right, well done. Well, that's a great website you've got there, ABC News. Congratulations. Anyway, I'll let their article scroll here since we've mentioned the name of the all-seeing eye, wannabe ABC News. Okay, so that's the lead story of the day over all news sources, at least over the past 24 hours for sure. As frankly, I'm sick of hearing about it. Yay, everybody will be able to get the vaccine by April 19th. Are you excited? I know we here at Smash News Network are very excited. Did you notice something stinking? Shout out to the Beastrons. All right, let me put this harpy on screen. What is this woman's name who decided to go off script and on teleprompter? Great idea. She must have gone from a written script to a teleprompter. Anybody see that the other day? What is this person's face? CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky. And let's check another source. Let's go to HuffPost.com and see what they're. Let's see. Oh my God, the hard part. The hard part. Two of the hardest guys out there. They're as hard as talc, folks. Look at these two. These dudes are the epitome of hard. Oh my God. No Malarkey Joe and Chuck talk about hard. Hard as talc, yo. All right. And let's see. Here we go. States blaming states. We've got HuffPost stating that 5 states responsible for nearly half of new COVID-19 infections. And let's get their autoplay video off the screen as well. And let's get their audio off the screen as well. Because we ain't getting no copyright strikes. And hey, viewers, tell us if you hear Mark Dice's voice every time you see Brian Stelter actually talking. All right, so as U.S. races to vaccinate, new coronavirus strains concern epidemiologists. Dun dun! Are you scared and spooked? Oh my God, new strains. All right, so thanks for leaving comments. iWrestling909 and UBNomNom634553 for attempting to sell me followers. You both get the 10-minute timeouts. We don't buy followers. We get paid to make videos, not vice versa. But thanks for the offer. See you in 10 minutes. If you'd like to leave more comments, please feel free. So there's the story to spook you and scare the crap out of you. Oh my God, new strains. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, folks, new strains don't typically become more deadly. New strains seem to become less and less deadly, as far as I know. So I don't know. I'm just saying, as far as I remember, as I've read quite extensively about this, variants, which are not strains, by the way, they're variants, which is a different thing, tend to be less deadly. As herd immunity builds, there's cross immunity to the different types of viruses. As far as I remember, although don't take my word for it, as I don't have the words MD after my name. So you can consider all of these videos just for novelty purposes only, folks, because we wouldn't want to provide any medical misinformation on the channel or alleged medical misinformation on the channel. But as far as I know, variants are less deadly. Because in other words, as the viruses mutate, the people that are immune to the viruses remain immune to the viruses. Sorry, COVID. COVID is so shy. You can stay there, COVID. It's perfectly fine. Oh my gosh. It just vanished. It's as if it was blasted with sunlight. And let's check one more source for COVID articles. We'll head to zerohedge.com and just scroll to the bottom of their news feed, highlighting any stories that may be of interest here, if any of them are COVID related. So this will be the final portion of our COVID chronicles then and now for April 7th, 2020 and 2021. And we'll just let the headlines scroll here. Hedge funds are having another dismal year. That's not really COVID related. I guess that's COVID related. And we did cover many economic topics last year. And leave us a comment if you remember when we were telling you to purchase silver at $12 an ounce. I think I seem to remember something about that. By the way, Pennsylvania has the second worst bridges in the whole country. I would tend to agree, as I saw the worst year for tires I've ever seen in my entire life last year in 2020. To add insult to injury and irritation and more injury and more insult. And we're just looking for COVID stories here, folks. Just bear with me if we find any that are interesting, and I'm sure we will. I know one of them is about Fauci being unable to explain why cases and deaths and so on aren't increasing in Texas despite Texas reopening. So there's Fauci's pathetic-looking face. And I guess that's since we started out with a Shut Up Fauci video, a nice Shut Up Fauci live set. Although, in their defense, Henry and Al were not live. They were Memorex. I was live. I hope it sounded okay. I couldn't hear myself. I have no monitors. I'm sitting in front of a computer. Anyway, Fauci can't explain why Texas cases are not rising, but instead dropping despite reopening. Masks are absolutely COVIDiotic, and they weren't effective ever before, nor have they been effective this time at, quote, controlling a virus. How idiotic can you possibly get? Stop listening to Fauci. He's a fraud. The definition of fraud is the misrepresentation of material facts, and that's today's COVID Chronicles Then and Now. Thanks for tuning in. I've been your host, Dan, a.k.a. smAsho, hosting this special presentation at the Smash News Network Least Busted Name in News for April 7th, 2020 and 2021. The COVID Chronicles Then and Now.